getting, but you know what? That's for the summer. But it's a nice little tune-up to have 3 games now with both of them, with the records they have. Although I want to see Betts in the lineup. Hopefully he will be in the lineup. Do we get anything more on Betts yet? Nothing. Do we know if he'll? It's a shoulder, but I don't know how bad. Maybe you know. Is he going to play tomorrow, Betts? We don't know. Do you know Mark is going to play?
Hey, Mike, I would think he'd play.
Okay.
I mean, a throw from a first baseman hits him in the right shoulder. I would assume probably just stiffened up on him a little bit, and then the flight.
Hopefully.
He gets treatment. He's in there.
Hopefully
you don't miss
he
these
plays.
games.
All right. You want to talk about the good teams or the bad teams first? Which ones?
You give it to me.
All right. You have some very bad teams and some very good teams. The bad teams: Orioles, White Sox, Reds. Anything about their deplorable starts that surprises you?
A little bit more surprised about the White Sox just because you see the energy, and I know the Braves, the younger players there that have burst on the scene, the Albies and the Acuna, are borderline superstars in the making. But the Moncada, he's supposed to be right up there ahead of Albies. I'm not surprised. Baltimore kind of, when I look at the Orioles, it's one of those, they should have made these moves a year or two ago. The Machados, if you're not going to re-sign them.
Where does he go? Where do you think he goes?
Where does it look like he's going to end up? I'm being honest with you. I think just the same way Giancarlo fell in the Yankees' lap, I think if the Yankees want to do this, they're the team.
But why would they want to do it?
I don't know if they want to do it.
I'm going to say I don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not knocking them. They have Didi. They have a ton of right-handed power. They don't need them.
I'm with you. Then, I mean, do you see him going to Cleveland?
I've heard the Dodgers. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. I just look at what package you're getting back. It's a very interesting case because for me, last year you saw J.D. Martinez change the whole dynamic of the Arizona Diamondbacks season in the second half, but you can't tell me who he got traded for. So what I'm saying is like, are you going to give up a major prospect-laden deal for 4 months of Manny Machado if you can't re-sign him?
No, I mean you could make him a Red Sox. I mean that could always work. I mean it could.
So the only way I really look at it is the Yankees have prospects to burn if they
do.
Go
but
down
I mean, but why
route.
would they? He wants to play shortstop though. That means you got to supplant. The Yankee fans don't want to see Didi. Listen, they don't need an upgrade at shortstop.
Short. If he comes, this would be.
Well, he says he wants to play. He says he wants to play short though. You know.
Well, then I wouldn't do it. I would ask him. Didi's. Him and Betts are fighting for an MVP right now. I mean,
Didi's playing great. And listen, I'm not knocking him. Manny Machado's a great player. But the Yankees sure don't need him right now. See,
they don't.
Everyone talks about the two guys, right. You know that. And listen, I understand what Harper would bring to the Yankees. He brings a power-hitting lefty and all that star power. He would be a monster in Yankee Stadium. He's a star of stars. His father always wanted him to be a Yankee. I understand all that. That one, I don't think they need it, but at least it makes more sense than bringing in a righty infielder, which they don't need with all the power they have from the right side.
I just look at it this way. You're going to hand the ball to Severino in game one no matter what, right. I would think, all things being equal.
No question.
So who's out there on the trade market? Maybe a Michael Fulmer.
Fulmer, I think, because
Archer.
of the age, I think you get Fulmer, you give him a package, Frazier or an Andujar or something like that, you know? Start
if that's the way you want to go and he thinks makes you that much better, then that's obviously the smarter way to go.
All right,
as I look at the Machado thing, I don't see a fit anywhere where Baltimore's going to get.
Do you see the Cardinals go after him? You know, they were interested in Stan. Would they be interested in Manny Machado?
I'm sure they'd be interested, but you're going to have to get Baltimore somebody they can put in their starting rotation for next year, and I don't see St. Louis wanting to do that. You want to give up an Alex Reyes coming off Tommy John with the potential of him breaking into the rotation in 2019? I don't know. Baltimore has kind of slow played, got the Cashner, signed Alex Cobb, and kind of what does it get you? It gets you in a situation where you're going to have to unload these guys not for 50 cents on the dollar.
All right, before we get to the Yankees, Red Sox, Mark Doors, let's get to a couple other things. National League first. The Molina thing is going to obviously impact the Cardinals. We know that. And the Cardinals were playing okay. Right now, with the Dodgers down and with Washington, having their issues, that National League's wide open right now. You expect the Cubs to make their move, but if you're any of the other teams that is playing well, you're thinking about some good things. If you're Arizona or you're Milwaukee, you're thinking about, I got a chance in this National League this year.
Absolutely. The team I've kind of picked, and I'm going to ride or die with them the rest of the way, is I just got a feeling about the Rockies. I like the way they went about it this year. They got some guys playing for some contracts. They got one of the best players in the game. Their starting staff is young, but it's done it already. It's gotten them to a wild card game, and I love the bullpen.
Bullpen's good.
So I just feel like they can. Their depth is going to keep them relevant. I think they're going to hit. They're hitting away from cores this year, which they haven't done. They're kind of my little sexy pick to hang on to.
I took the Indians as an under this year, and I took the Astros as an under, only thinking, that the Indians wouldn't have to put the pedal to the metal. But They've had more things gone wrong but they can win that division with 85 games this year. So they'll be able to coast, and their starting rotation's too good. Once they get the bullpen straightened out, they'll be fine. How about the Astros? The Astros have got to come to the realization that they can bully most teams with their bullpen, but they can't beat the good teams with that bullpen. They can't. The Yankees, they don't even want to face those guys with their bullpen. And, last year they went to the starters to beat the Yankees, not the bullpen. And now this last series, again, the bullpen imploded in every which way. So their bullpen, they can't count on it against good teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. If anything told you what their one kind of crutch on their roster is right now, it's who's A.J. Hinch going to hand the ball to in a big spot late in the game. You saw it with the Gary Sanchez at bat. I mean, Giles threw the night before. He struck out 3 guys and looked really good. I mean, Mike, I'm sure you were watching that game and you were sitting on your couch and you were walking Gary Sanchez.
Everybody was. Everybody was.
But you don't have a lefty in the bullpen. You feel comfortable enough to turn Hicks around. So you let him, maybe pitch around and maybe not. So they definitely need to address that. I still think Anaheim's a little light starting pitching-wise, and the way they're going to have to manage Ohtani, I don't know how over 162 they keep their starting rotation intact and getting it done. Seattle's interesting. They're interesting, but I still think Houston with the 1 through 5 can kind of.
Oh yeah, Houston will win the division. I just don't think they'll win 100 games. Cleveland. That's all. But I think they'll be fine.
They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. Neither does Cleveland. Let's get to the big two: the Yankees and the Red Sox. Separate them for me right now. Which one you like better?
Man, the Yanks are hot right now. I'm in on the Yanks, and I'll tell you why I'm in on the Yanks. I don't know what I'm getting out of David Price. If David Price was following up Chris Sale and he was locked down like he was a couple years ago, then I would think over 162 to starting rotation. Rick Porcello's 5-0 in the early going.
Yep.
I feel like they'd be able with Craig Kimbrell, who just had 300 saves, and J.D. Martinez has changed the whole landscape of that lineup, letting Betts lead off and Benintendi play their game and letting him and Hanley drive him in.
And Price isn't good in a big spot, and he's not good in a big spot, and he never beats the Yankees, ever.
Yeah, man, I'm in on the Yanks, man. I really am.
The Yanks will need another pitcher, though, as you said. They'll need another pitcher, unless CC can continue, and I admit that I keep waiting for the CC to just get old, but it never happens.
No, it's not going to happen.
That cut has made a big difference, you know that? It really has.
He knows who he is, and don't sleep on the fact that you're going to let Gleyber Torres and Andujar and all these guys kind of hide in the bottom of the order, get their 300-400 plate appearances, and by the end of the summer, Gleyber Torres is not going to play like a rookie anymore.
He doesn't now.
Exactly.
He won 2 games this week. Plus, he won 2 games this week with his bat.
So it's good when the Yankees are rolling.
And they are wrong. They'll need another pitcher. I agree. And, the bullpen's not as deep with the injuries right now. And Betances still is a little iffy in spots, so you got to worry about that, especially if somebody gets on base.
I like what Romine said about Sonny Gray, though, kind of unlocking something in that loss against Justin Verlander with the backdoor breaking ball. So he ended up pitching another good game. I want to see him kind of take that next step. I really think he's better than he's shown in the pinstripes.
Well, the last couple of games have been better, as you said.
Yeah.
And listen, the Yankees, 13 games against the top teams, they're 9-1, which is unbelievable. Yeah. Just at the 3 left against the Red Sox, and it should be fun. They do miss Sale. We don't know about Betts. We're talking with Mark DeRosa, MLB. All right, you mentioned Atlanta. Last week when I'm watching the Mets play the Braves, and none of us I don't think any of us picked the Braves to go to the playoffs this year. I mean, I sure didn't. Okay,
No.
Everyone thought they were at least another year away. But when you look at them on the field and you look at the men on the field, I was sitting there saying, you know what? It's one more year, and then this other team is going to be so much better than them. It's going to be ridiculous.
They're coming, man, with money to burn.
And look how many good young players they have.
Yeah, this Acuna kid's special. We've been hearing about him. I mean, I live in Atlanta. I've been hearing about this kid for the last 3 years.
And the kid at second base is a good player. Yeah. I mean, they got some.
You know what's funny, though, Mike? There was a lot of people down in Atlanta that weren't sure about Albies because he's got that high leg kick. He's got a lot of moving parts in his swing. Is he going to be able to hit it at the next level? And he's answered the bell. I mean, geez, 10 bombs in the month of April.
Can they arrive this month, or is this too much to add? Can they just not look back here? Is it impossible, or is it the bell has to ring for them this year? I mean, do they have to? Do they have to go? Do they have to go through the fire and realize that they're going to have their tough days, or can they not? Can they have a Cinderella season and just not look back and everyone forgets how old they are?
Yeah, I think they're going to – they definitely could have a Cinderella season. I don't – this is going to be interesting. This season's going to come down to Alex Anthopoulos, their GM, for me. Is this team going to stay relevant enough at the deadline for him to put – because they have the prospects, they have the money to do almost anything they want to do. And Alex has always been real aggressive. I played under him in Toronto. He's real aggressive. If he feels a team – like he was saying the other day on the radio, he says, hey, if Acuna's going to have a career year and Albies and they're all going to have career years, their rookie year, then I'm not doing my job if I don't augment this roster July 31st. So I want to see come trade deadline where they're at, and then they have the means to go get anybody. But I still think the Nats, when they get healthy, you get Eaton and Murphy and those guys back in the lineup. Harper moves out of the leadoff spot, and we get it back to a kind of a normal flow. I think they'll find a way to kind of distance themselves.
What would you say about the Mets? The 11-1 start, the dreadful 6-14 last 20, the injuries, the problem scoring, the rotation, the whole thing. Are you to the point where you don't think they're any good, or do you think they're better than that?
I think they're better than that.
Where are they better? Tell me.
I just think everybody needs to relax. Were we really expecting Matt Harvey to pitch 2 or 3 this year?
No, but now tell me who the third starter is on this team.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I said when DeGrom hurt his elbow that you put him on the DL immediately, even if there's nothing wrong, even if he can make his next start. You take the 10 days, you rehab it, you rest it, and you get back out. You cannot lose Jacob DeGrom or Syndergaard or Dunn.
And yesterday, Callaway, after the game, does not even know what Cespedes' injury is. He's got him with a wrong injury. I mean, that can't happen. He comes out of the game.
They don't hit left-handed pitching, Mike.
No, and Conforto's a mess right now.
So if you don't have Cespedes in the lineup, or Wilmer Flores, who
owns
is
lefties.
A utility guy. He owns lefties, but you're asking him to carry the
He's done nothing either this year, but he's, as he said, he's only going to hit lefties, which he usually does. He usually kills lefties. He hasn't done that either, but Conforto's been messed up. And you know what else? Bruce hasn't done anything this year.
And he's going to. I just think it's way too early for it all to come crashing
I'm worried
down.
about the pitching, because here's why. DeGrom's on the DL. Syndergaard looks a little lost right now, and DeGrom's on the DL, and there's nothing behind them right now. There's not a guy you can count on behind them.
Wouldn't you love to see him go get a catcher?
I wish they would, but I know they can't afford Real Muto. I don't know what the Marlins want, but I'm sure it's a lot. But I mean, that's the name you hear. But I mean, the guy's an automatic. You might as well go back and play. I mean, they have an automatic out at catcher right now.
Yeah, they do. It's interesting. I don't want to write them off yet. There's too much talent there. I think they got off to such a great start. Everything was rolling. Then the whole Matt Harvey fiasco happened. I think if you polled half the roster, that was coming. At some point, whether it's better April than August.
So, Mark DeRosa, does Matt Harvey, do we hear of him ever again? Does he get a deal? Does he arrive in the majors again this year? What do you think happens to Matt Harvey?
Ooh, that's a good question. Here's the problem with Matt Harvey. I don't even care about the off-the-field stuff, if that's still even an issue. the bottom line is the ball's not coming out of his hand. I mean, he's throwing low to, 90 to 93 with a telegraph changeup. So for me, I understood why Sandy and Mickey Callaway wanted to send him down and to work on things and to kind of rework them the way they did it with Carrasco. Mickey did that with other guys in Cleveland. I mean, Matt, this is about Matt. Do we see him? Yeah, someone's going to sign him. 100% someone's going to sign him, and Scott Boras is going to dictate how it's planned out and when he's going to get called up and the opt-out and everything else. I think if he went down to the minors with the Mets, he knew it was the Mets' call.
So he wants to control it. The rumor is Texas.
Absolutely.
The rumor we've heard is Texas has been the rumor.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That Texas was interested.
Bartolo Colon's been their best starter.
I mean, that's what we've heard, but I don't know if it's accurate. That's the only name. The only team I've heard yet mentioned from anybody was Texas. That's the only one I've heard. We're talking with Mark DeRosa, so I don't know. Right now, would you be more concerned about the Dodgers and their problems, especially with Kershaw down? Would you be more concerned about them, or would you be more concerned about, let me give you another team to put against them. I'll go the Dodgers or Washington. Which one are you more concerned about?
Oh, way more concerned about the Dodgers.
Okay.
Way tougher division. You're missing. You could put anybody at shortstop that can defend. Kiki Hernandez can defend. Chris Taylor can defend. But they're not going to throw up the offensive numbers that Corey Seager's going to throw up. When's Justin Turner coming back to the lineup?
Yep, they have that. Then they have Kershaw now on the shelf, so you got to worry about that.
Kershaw goes on the shelf. He's got an opt-out at the end of the year.
You can't see him somewhere else, could you?
It's interesting. I would have said no. But I feel like we've seen kind of a change in Clayton Kershaw, kind of a pullback, like more of a recluse with the media. And I think everybody over the years, this guy's been so good and been pulled in so many directions. And then with the postseason kind of hiccups, he feels like maybe he's been buried a little bit nationally. So I don't know. I just see a different kind of vibe coming off him than I have in years. I wouldn't say 100% he wouldn't opt out.
Give me a surprise team that you think will contend in the National League. Do you have one?
I think the Braves stay in it.
You think the Braves stay in it? Okay,
I think the Braves stay in it.
All right, and how about the American League? I mean, the American League's top-heavy. We know that because you have Angels, Houston. We have Houston, you have Cleveland, you have Yankees, Red Sox. Those four make it very top-heavy. Do you believe in the Angels?
I go back and Angels or Mariners for me is such a flip of the coin. I mean, I love both lineups. I think the Angels play D. I like All right,
behind the big four, what team would you? Houston, Cleveland, Yankees, Red Sox. We all know those four are going to be all 90-win teams. The next team in the American League is whom?
Anaheim.
Anaheim? Okay.
Yeah.
And your surest team to make the playoffs in the National League is whom?
Surest team to make the playoffs.
Like one team right now to make the playoffs in the National League. Who is it right now? Gun to your head right now. Got to pick a National League playoff team. Just one. Who is
Cubs.
It? Still the Cubs. Okay.
Yeah. Still the Cubs for me. Still
the Cubs, even though they've gotten off to the sluggish start, still the Cubs.
I still think the Cubs. I was watching them last night. They need a Tyler Austin moment. They need something to kind of galvanize this team again, to bring them together. I see a lot of unbelievable talent, and it is an individualistic game and, comes out as a team score. But at the end of the day, there has to be some type of chemistry fighting for one another. And I just see a lot of individualistic at-bats and play, and it'll come together. Theo will find a way to make it come together.
All right, thanks. You can watch DeRosa on MLB Network morning, noon, and night. He's there all the time. He doesn't even go home. He stays there all day. He stays there all night. He's there all the time. So stay out of trouble. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Mike.
Thank you. Mark DeRosa from MLB Network. Now, Yankee fans.